Okay, good morning everyone. We're going to start with breathing and then we'll lay on our back. So just Nadi Shodhana. So if we just work with that, so everyone knows that now. So it's just the fingers, these fingers in between the eyebrows, block the right and breathing through the left. Block left, breathe out through right. And just really take your time this morning, just a nice, slow, deep breath. So just make the inhales deeper and deeper as you go. Then when you're ready, just release the hands and just come into deep breathing through both nostrils. And when you're ready, flip over onto your back. We're just going to go through a bit of a process to just stretch the spine and the hips so we can start getting into the poses. We're going to go through an all-over stretch today. So just keep your left leg straight, right foot onto the left thigh, left hand on the outside of the right knee, right hand in line with the right shoulder. Just bring the knee across the body. Feel all the cracks and crunches. Oh God, I'm just cracking and crunching, popping, and it's all good. Feels good. So just breathe. Look out to the right if your neck feels okay. If you've got a tight neck, don't strain it going out. Just find a comfortable place where you're not engaging the neck. And then when you're ready, coming back, keep your left leg straight, right knee bent, interlace all 10 fingers, place them underneath the knee onto the shin, bring the knee away from the rib cage and pull it up towards the right armpit, squeezing, feeling the pinch between the hip and the thigh. If you're not feeling that, squeeze a little bit deeper. Just for 2 more breaths, squeeze, and then release. So we're going to swap sides, bring the left foot, place it on the right thigh, right hand on the outside of the left knee, left hand in line with the left shoulder. Bring the knee across the body. Look out to the left if your neck feels okay. If not, just find a comfortable spot. Try and shimmy those shoulders so you've got the shoulder blades onto the floor. That's where you're going to get a nice twist there. So we're connecting to the breath right now from Nadi Shodhana. Continue that through. Deep inhale, long, slow exhale, just working with the breath. The next inhale, coming back up. Right leg straight, left knee bent, interlace all 10 fingers. Place below the knee on the shin, bring the knee away from the rib cage, pull up. towards the left armpit and squeeze and feel that pinch between the hip and the thigh. And also bringing the chin towards the chest, so don't let your head just drop away. Chin to chest. Squeeze for 2 more breaths. And then release. Stretch the left leg out, just give it a bit of a shake, and then bring both knees up. Give yourself a really nice tight hug. Try and work towards grabbing the elbows. Get as close as you can. You might only grab the wrists, it's okay, the hands, but just work towards that. So bring the knees deep into the stomach and drop the tailbone towards the floor as much as you can. Keep pulling into the stomach. Breathing. Pulling tighter and tighter on every breath. Keep squeezing. And then exhale. Release. Stretch the legs out so we can let blood flow through the hips again. Just 2 or 3 breaths. Then we're going to move into reclining twist. So when you're ready, bring the knees up, right into the chest, and then roll to the right hand side. So both knees to the right. Bring the arms out in line with the shoulders. Just a minute and a half on each side here. So again, working those shoulder blades to the floor as much as you can, just to get a really nice twist of that spine. So we're going to work through the poses today, giving the shoulders a good stretch, the hamstrings, the spine, the hips. So we're pretty much doing everything today. So we're working through the process. Each pose gets us prepared for the next pose. When you're ready, slowly come up and then drop the knees down to the left-hand side. Bring the knees up towards the chest before you do that so you can get a nice twist. Work the shoulder blades to the floor, chin towards the chest and lengthen through the spine. Look out to the right if you feel comfortable to do that. And when you're ready, coming back to center. Give yourself a little bit of a hug and a squeeze and then roll up to a seated position. Then we're going to come into a forward bend. So we're going to come into Sukhasana. So just cross-legged and just get as comfortable as you can in the cross-legged pose. If you need to sit on a block, sit on a block if you need that. Or a cushion. And then we'll come into the forward bend, so bring the shoulder blades together, sternum up as we always do in a forward bend. Just bring the fingers onto the floor and keep looking up as you lengthen through the spine. And then when you can't go any further, just hold where you are and breathe. Continually walk the hands out until you have to stop. You can have anything you want in front of you, cushion, bolster, block, whatever it is you need to work your way down. It's 3 minutes in this pose. So that's why we just got a bit of movement in those hips so we could actually come a little bit more forward on this while we're still fairly cold, not warm enough to go too deep. And then work with the breath. The more we're just going deeper into this pose, the more you're going to stretch through the glutes, hamstrings. We're opening the hips here as well. We want to lengthen through the back, so make sure that you're not just dumping into the pose, you're feeling that stretch in the lower back. And then you can bring chin towards the chest so we can lengthen. Controlling the breath. So we're over halfway, so just always, if you've got some support with a bolster or a block or something, just always test yourself, see if you can go that little bit further. Because when you're just focused on the breath and the pose, you're just going to get deeper and deeper without even feeling that you are. You're thinking you're in the same spot, but you're getting deeper. So the last 20 seconds. When you're ready, start helping yourself up. I'm going to flip straight over and come into Sphinx. So we're going to go straight into Sphinx. So flip over onto your stomach and bring the elbows underneath the shoulders, palms on the floor, spread the fingers out wide. I'm going to go through a few different back bends in a row here with rests in between. So inhale, bring the shoulder blades together, push the sternum up and away. You should feel that nice stretch in the lower back. So then you've got the choice to come into seal pose or stay where you are. If you're going to come into seal, you just need to squeeze the glutes and then push the floor away, so we're straightening those arms. You can stay where you are if you're getting enough of a stretch. But just make sure you squeeze the glutes. And slowly come down, relax the glutes, relax the back. But slide the hands forward and just bring the forehead onto the floor and just relax the back for the next 10, 15 seconds. Then bring the feet together. Reach the hands out as far as you can go. We'll come into Purnasavasana, Superman arms. So reach them out as far as you can go. So we want to engage those shoulder blades as much as we can. And then just lift the head off the floor and just feel the stretch in the shoulders. And then lift the arms up. So the arms, chest, chin off the ground, and then lift the legs up. So holding there. So just get to a spot where you can just hold and breathe. Keep reaching forward with the fingers as you reach back with the toes. You can bring the chest up just a little bit higher if you like, and thighs just a bit more away from the floor. Holding there. Controlling the breath as much as you can. Wants to speed up, just slow it down. So now what I want you to do is come to the highest point you can go for this pose. So come up and then come down, back. Come into crocodile pose. So stack the hands, feet out wide, toes pointing out, heels in. Just breathe. So when you're ready, you're going to help yourself up and come into Vajrasana, which is Japanese seated pose. So what we're going to do is we're working here through the ankles and the knees. We've worked the back and the hips quite well. They should be nice and warm. So working down in the lower part of the legs now, and we're going to stretch the shoulders as well. So we're going to do Gurudasana arms, so eagle arms. So bring the arms up and then bring the right arm underneath the left, and we're twisting and coming into eagle arms. So once you're comfortable in this, once you've got into it as deep as you can, we lift the arms up. Okay, so lift them up until you can hold in that position. If it becomes too much, all you need to do is grab the shoulders but lift the elbows up. But try and hang in here as much as you can. It's a really nice pose to stretch through these shoulders. It's a pose of patience. The more you just focus on the breath here, the easier it is to get through. There's a lot happening in this pose. We're blocking off a lot of blood flow through the knees, ankles, shoulders, elbows, wrists. Keep breathing. And those elbows are going to drop down. I've just let mine drop down, so just push them back up. Should be building up a lot of heat now in this pose. This pose really works through heat. When you do the full pose, crossing the legs as well, it works even deeper. But just the shoulders at the moment we want to focus on. The elbows higher, just under a minute to go on this side. So last 30 seconds. Come up as high as you can go. Use the breath to get you through any blockages, anything the mind is chattering about. Just use the breath. Just to delete those comments that are coming through the mind about getting out of the pose like I'm getting. And when you're ready, release the arms. So just relax the arms. Stay in this position and we'll just move into the other side. So bring the arms up, left arm under right. Crossing over. Lifting up and then coming into the pose. So it's funny the mind chatter when you're in poses like this because they're really challenging for pretty much everyone. And so the mind chatter changes depending on where you are. Like me teaching the class, my mind chatter is you don't have to stay into it. That's what everyone's here for. You can just watch, see what's going on. So you just got to allow that just to flow past. It's quite funny when you're just watching all the thoughts and comments that go through your mind. And if you don't attach to them and just go away. It's when you get caught in the conversation, you start believing it. So lift the elbows up and bring the belly button to the spine. So what that's doing is bringing the rib cage inwards. So you're really switching on the core here as well. And when you're in this standing, you have to have the core switched on to a really deep level. So just practice it here. Halfway through already. So lift those elbows up a little bit higher if you can. So last 50 seconds here. Just bring it up as much as you can bring it up. The elbows, that is. Twisting the arms, if you can twist them a little bit more. Belly button to the spine. .30 seconds left. You can get through this now. Breathe. Come into it as deep as you can go. And then releasing. Coming into Shavasana, making sure that you got your strap close by. And laying back in Shavasana. So now we've just worked the shoulders, stretched the shoulders. You'll feel the blood rushing through the knees now and the ankles as well. So we've done really well for the joints. So now you're getting fresh blood, oxygen, and nutrients flowing through all those joints, clearing out all that stagnation and toxic waste that builds up, or armour that builds up in those joints. So you need to relax the body completely to allow the blood to flow through all those areas we've just blocked off. Everyone worked really hard there. So now you're just reaping the benefits. So what we're going to do now is the next two poses we're working on hamstrings. Okay, so then the hamstrings are going to prepare us for the poses coming up after that. So grab the strap and we'll come into hammock pose. Hammock pose is a really good one to get those hamstrings flowing, the blood flowing through the hamstrings. So do it the way you like to do it. You can either hold the strap or come into complete hammock where it's around the back of your head. Just remember, you've been doing this for a while now, so challenge yourself. Just test that next level. See how you're going. If it's not working, go back. Always regress if you need to. So it's always chin towards chest with this one. If you need something behind you, I'm going tighter on the strap today, so I'm going to have my block placed behind my head because I won't get to the floor just yet. Keep challenging yourself by pushing the heel upwards and the toes towards the shins. You got just halfway through on this leg. Eventually you're going to straighten the knee. Keep breathing, getting deeper into the pose if you can. And each breath is going to get you deeper into the pose. So just be aware of that, because that's how you progress, is with the breath. So now my block can move from behind my head and my head will touch the floor. So it's just using that breath to get you to that next stage. So that's the tightest I've had the strap. Now my head's back on the floor. So just always be aware that you are improving. You've got to be aware of that to find out how much. So the last 10 seconds on this side. And when you're ready, switching legs, so you can just flip it over if you like. And I'll bring the block back on this side and work my way down. And so just get into the position you need to get into, fiddle around, get it right, and then you don't need to move. So it's just breath and stillness. And the breath and stillness will just get you deeper and deeper into the pose. And yoga is just more about the more you can let go, the deeper you get into poses, the deeper you get into relaxation, the more you're going to heal those muscles, build the muscles, strengthen the muscles, as well as the organs. So the more you think about something that happened before yoga or that's going to happen after yoga, that's something you're holding on to. So it's about quietening that mind and then making the body still. And that's letting go. And then you just get deeper and deeper into the pose. And it's not just getting deeper into the pose, it's the benefits that come from the relaxation and the stillness. So push the heel away, toes towards the shins, chin towards the chest. And breathe. So you've got a minute, just under a minute to go on this side. So now just come into as deep as you can go right now. We'll try and work that out with the poses that last, 30 deeper. It just gives all the muscles that memory of how deep you've gone into it for next time. Although there's no memory in the hamstring, all the muscles around have got memory. So they're going to be nice and ready next time you come into the pose. So when you're ready, just release. Bring the left leg down. Just relax that leg. Allow the blood to flow through before we move into the next hamstring pose. I always feel so much lighter after getting into the hamstrings like that. It just feels pretty amazing now. I was really tight before. So when you're ready, bring the knees into the chest. Have a squeeze. You can roll on the lower back if that's going to feel any good for you. And then just roll up to a seated position. Then you're going to come to a standing position to come into the next hamstring pose, which we all know by now. And we're going to come into this the way we normally do now. So it's grabbing that bone, okay, so that hip bone. And then lengthening through the spine, bringing the shoulder blades together, sternum up, chin up, chest up, and roll the eyes to look up to the eyebrows. And you just keep bending forward until you have to look at the ground. Once you have to look at the ground, that's the length of the spine that you've got, stomach to the thighs, and then just let go. So hips up, head down, and just breathe. So the movement we're trying to get here is, the reason we get the stomach to the thighs is once the stomach goes to the thighs, the femur bone moves backwards. So it moves back. And what that does is open the hips up. So if you just imagine where the femur comes into the hips, once it moves backwards, then the hips open up wider, so they come out sideways. And then we've got the tilt forward, so all those tendons around there are just really loosening up. So that's the reason we need to bring the stomach to the thighs. So if you're not there yet, just keep working towards that, because nothing will progress until you get to that stage. So just keep working to that stage. We've got 45 seconds to go. So fold to the deepest you can in the last 20 seconds. And then when you're ready, we're going to come out. I wasn't going to do this pose, but I know there's a few people online that love this pose. So bring the feet out wide while your head's still down. Turn the toes out, heels in, and we'll come into garland. Sit the hips down and bring the hands into prayer position. Elbows on the inside of the knees. We've got 3 minutes here, so just work with this. Remember, if you need a block or a bolster to sit on, just make sure you do it. Make sure you use something to sit on if you need to. Always work spine straight. Okay, so I'm leaning forward. I'm a bit lazy in this pose today. So what I'll do to stop being lazy is bring the weight into the heels. As soon as you do that, the pelvis comes forward. Once the pelvis comes forward, you can move the knees out wider, bring the thumbs to the middle of the chest, shoulder blades together, and all of a sudden you're straight. So a minute down. Working with the breath. So you're over halfway now. So just readjust yourself if you need to. You're going to feel pretty awesome after today's class. I'm feeling it already, just the looseness of some of the tight joints I had before I started. So you're going to have a nice day of mobility just by making the effort to get on the mat this morning. It's going to give you so much more pleasure to get around in the day. I don't know if anyone feels this. It's probably just mainly hitters that feel this. Is the heat building up in this pose. It's quite hot. When you're in this pose for, like, I've been in it for 20 minutes before, and it's excruciating stuff. The sweat starts dripping off you. So if you're bored one time and you got 20 minutes, just go into this pose for 20 minutes. So see how you go. When you're ready to release, bring the hands down. We're just going to sit on our bums and stretch the legs out. Just give them a really nice shake. So the next pose is it is the hardest pose of the day. So just bend the knees up and come into windshield wipers just to get ready for this pose. We're going to do full Gomakasana. So we haven't done that in a while, full Gomakasana, we've done halves. We're going to bring shoulders and hips into the same pose. We'll just spend 2 minutes either side in it.
1 minute.
2 minutes, that's 1 minute off. So what we'll do is come into the pose. So you're going to need your strap. Most people will need the strap. So Gomakasana is cow face, so when you've got to put your arms like that. So if you need the strap for that, make sure you get the strap. So to get in Gomakasana, we did legs the other day. So bring the left foot underneath the right buttock. And then to get into the pose is this. Remember, so if you want to get in like that and you work that heel away, the full pose is stacking the knees, which I'll do, and then work the toes upwards. But stomach to thigh again, okay? So that's what we're working on. So once you're in that, you've got the right leg over, so that means the left arm comes up. So I always grab my elbow on the first one because I'm out of balance, and try and bring the elbow as high as you can. Then bring the right arm underneath, the left, right arm underneath, grabbing the fingers. If you can't get the fingers, have the strap in the top arm. Get yourself as comfortable as possible. Straighten the spine, shoulders up. So we want the chest up. And if it's too much for the shoulders, just do the hips. But what you can do with the shoulders as well is this. So we can reach around just like we did in that other one, eagle. So work with it, work with the hips. You'll feel your body really skew if I'm feeling really skew if today, all over the place, trying to get straight. You look straight.
I am straight.
Bring your bottom foot towards me.
Why?
Because you're looking like you're doing it so easy.
It was easy. You said put your foot underneath your butt.
So eventually what you do is your toes should be in line with the top of your knee. Okay, so that's the idea. Is your toes come in line with the top of the knee.
That's just ridiculous.
Okay, so that's the goal. So you've got 30 seconds left. It's a tough pose. We're only in it for 2 minutes.
Oh, nice.
Straighten the spine, chin to chest, lengthen through the spine. And then slowly release. So we're going to go straight into the other side. Stretch the legs out. You should feel that in the hips. If you're not feeling any in the hips, you've got to work into it a little bit deeper. So bring the right leg under, the left foot over. So just remember that might be enough for you. But always, every time we do this pose, we're going to do it a fair bit in the coming month. So just work the foot out as far as you can go and drop the knee. That's how you're just going to progress through. So you can stack the knees if you want, like I'm going to do, or just work to where you need to go. Left leg's over, bring that stomach towards the thighs, lock it in. Right arm up. And perception's a funny thing. It might look like I'm doing it easy, but I can tell you I'm struggling in every possible way this morning for this pose. So you just got to keep working with what you got. Find that stillness. Once you find the stillness, you'll find how to fix the pose. Okay, so that's what I'll find is stillness, and then I feel like I'm leaning somewhere along the line, but it's my left butt cheek wants to rise up a little bit too much. So I'm just bringing that back, straightening the spine now. So just work with your body. You're always going to find it. You'll find everything you need in stillness. Okay, so if you jabber onto yourself about things, you're not going to find it. But if you just become still, calm, relaxed, the answer's there. "25 seconds left in this pose." And when you're ready, release the arms. Stretch the legs out and come into Shavasana. And you should feel that relief through the entire body when you're laying on your back. So bring the knees into the chest. Have a squeeze. We're going to move into a pose to stretch the quads now. So coming into Supta Bhajasana. So remember, you can do this one leg or two legs. Two legs is knees towards each other, heels apart, and you sit in between the heels. That could be enough for you and you stay there, or you can come back on a cushion or a bolster, or come down onto your elbows, and then head, shoulders, and reaching around to get the arms. You don't want the knees to come off the floor, you want them on the floor. If you're going to do one leg, just have left leg straight out, right leg bent, and come back into the pose that way. And I'll tell you when we're halfway through to switch. This is a 3-minute pose, a minute and a half either side. If you're doing one leg. So knees towards each other. Make sure you're sitting between the heels if you're doing two legs. And then work your way back. So elbow to elbow, elbow to ground. Yeah, so between the heels you need your butt, not on your heels. Beautiful. So getting a deep stretch here into the quads, lengthening through the quads. It's something we haven't focused on yet today. We've focused on pretty much everything else. Everything else has been stretched in some way. We're getting a really deep stretch in the ankles here. Quads, blocking blood flow off to the knees. Getting a good stretch through the hips. If you're all the way in the pose, you could be getting a stretch through the lower abdomen as well. If you're doing one leg, just switch to the other side now. And if you're in the full pose like this, and you're feeling tension in the lower back or tightness in the lower back, what you need to do is stick a block or a cushion in that space underneath your lower back. And what that'll do is just take that tension off the back. Every now and again I have to do it, depending on how your back feels. Or you can even sit on a block as well. So just remember, if you're in that, you don't have to come out. You could just ease that tension. This is a really good pose to fix any knee issues that you've got. Lengthens the quads, opening up through the hips. There's a lot happening here. I'm feeling it in so many different places today. Breathe through it. It's really important after this pose to come into Shavasana as fast but as elegant as you can. Because it's the rush of blood through the knees and the ankles that we're after when we get out of this pose. So when you're ready, slowly come out of the pose, and you'll feel it in your hips, you'll feel it in your legs. Flip yourself over and come into Shavasana. And just feel that sensation through the ankles and through the knees. Feels amazing. And the hips start to relax. It's an awesome pose to make you feel what yoga does throughout the body. It's a really nice way to find it out, and you'll just feel all those areas in the joints. You just feel nice tingly feelings or lightness is another way. So we need a good 30-40 seconds here before we can do anything else. So when you're ready, bring the knees into the chest, have a squeeze, and then roll up. And we're going to come into melting heart. Okay, so Anahatasana. So we need knees hip width apart and the tops of the feet on the floor. And then we bring the chest and chin to the floor, reaching those arms out. That's too much. You can bring the forearms to the floor, work the chest down. You can even have a block under your chest or have the bolster. You'll find a really nice spot for the bolster that'll bring the forehead onto the bolster and working the chest down. Okay, so again, we're working into the shoulders, but with the back bend. A couple of minutes in this pose. So we just got 2 poses to go now and finish the complete stretch off. So just come into the best you can, hips up. So the main thing is hips up. That's it. It's really good. Some good hips up there. We've got about 50 seconds to go now. And then we'll move straight into the next pose from here. So this one's working lower back and shoulders, so that's where you should be feeling it. You mightn't feel it too much in the lower back. You should feel it around the shoulders and the upper back. So it's working entire back. So we're moving into the next pose, which isn't a great deal different in the way we sit, but you get a different feeling. So come out of that pose slowly, bring the knees out wider. We're coming into frog pose. Knees out wider, point the toes out. So we're in a similar position. We want to push the hips back and then bring the chest towards the floor. So feeling it now in the hip flexors instead of the shoulders. Okay, so just moving from shoulders to hip flexors, and you can have a cushion in front of you or whatever you need in front. So this is the final pose before Shavasana, so you should feel pretty awesome once you come out of this pose. So it's a couple of minutes in this pose. If you feel the need to come out of the pose, it's a fairly intense pose. Just make sure that you do come out. So from here we move, once we come out of the pose, straight into Shavasana for our final pose. We've got about 40 seconds to go. The last 5 or 6 breaths here. When you're ready, slowly push the chest away from the floor, helping yourself up the best way you can. Flipping over, and make sure, I know it's getting close to 8:30, but make sure you have at least a minute or so after this pose to lay in Shavasana, and then if you need to go and do things, it's fine. Just allow this blood to go through the hip flexors. Now, you need a good minute there to allow that to happen. And just focus on the breath going through the nose now. So that's all you need to do. Just focus on that breath going through the nose. And even start counting the breath through the nose. So inhale for 2 or 3 or maybe 4. And exhale for 4. Just focus on that. So you should start feeling settled now in the body from the poses. Just for the next 30 seconds, just do a bit of so hum. So inhale so, say so to yourself, exhale hum. Inhale so, exhale hum. Inhale so, exhale hum. Just do that for the next 30 seconds. And just bring the awareness to the natural breath now. Just the natural breath. Just move away from so hum, just into the natural breath. And then while you're laying in Shavasana, just thanking yourself for getting here this morning, making that choice, and doing some great things for your body and your mind in particular. And a gratitude to maybe something in your life or someone in your life, whatever it is that you're grateful for, doesn't matter what it is. Just think of that thing or that person or that event and just be grateful for that, sending off a gratitude. And when you're ready, start wiggling the toes and the fingers. And then rolling to the right-hand side, taking a breath and working your way up into Sukhasana, comfortable seated pose. Bringing the hands into prayer position. And thank you so much for getting here this morning and letting me take you through the class, and I hope you feel amazing from the class. It was a pleasure to do so. And have a wonderful rest of the day. Namaste.